Good morning. How are you all doing? It is a glorious morning on May 18th, 2024. I hold on, let me turn this down. I I'm still kind of flabbergasted after seeing the video of Cassie and Diddy. And when things like this happen, I always do the same thing. I spring into action. I see it as an opportunity to bring awareness about a subject that impact our community. My brain go into create mode. What type of program, initiative, funding, um, benefits, scholarships can be created for situations like this? My brain go into what organizations need to be created, what ministries could assist, what ministries are already doing something, which organizations are already trying to serve that demographic of people. And because the reality is that intimate partner spousal abuse impacts every gender, all right? But in America, we still don't know how to bring it to the forefront, be uncomfortable, and deal with it. We kind of do everything we can to push it back into darkness. And I don't think we realized that when they were being abused and no one knew about it, they were already in darkness. So trying to push them back into that darkness, that's a second form of abuse and neglect of a human being. And I can admit that most of the time I'm very disappointed by the response of men when it comes to this subject. I'm very disappointed with how ministries handle this subject. I'm very disappointed that school systems provide more education and awareness about spousal and mate abuse than most people do in their own households. I'm disappointed that it's handled like it's a taboo or some anomaly or something when it's reality of a lot of people who walk amongst us. They feel trapped because in this country, we've created a dynamic where we silence them and ignore them. And we conduct ourselves in a way that communicates to those who are being abused that nobody cares. And here we are, a country with almost a church on every corner. And we have people who are being abused and mistreated, and they feel like no one cares. Now that's alarming, right? Usually I get so passionate and my brain is like a cold red 5 alarm fire. You got to do something. You got to do something. You got to do something. You got to do something fast. And this time, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not. Because when these things happen, it's not just the men sit there quiet. The most women are doing when these stories come out, make a YouTube video, leave a comment, try to go viral. Just, did you see, did you hear about? And this time, you will notice people are not pulling together after this video has been released, and there are more to come. Their brains aren't going into, you know what, we need to have, can we do a series on spousal abuse and the signs of it, and talk with people who maybe grew up in a house with parents who were, a parent who were abused, or a parent who lost their life to spousal abuse. Let's bring in some people who escaped an abusive marriage or relationship, and let's hear their story so that they can bring awareness to the subject and possibly save someone's life. For whatever reason, majority of society don't think that way. They just don't, which allows abusers to feel safe and protected. They feel more safe and protected than the victims do, because the abuser understand the community and society has made it very clear that they don't care. They don't care. It was almost 40 years ago, before the government had no choice but to step in when it came to abuse. They had no choice because the victims were dying. Victims, they were being brutally and savagely beat to a bloody pulp, jaws fractured and broken, teeth missing, vision loss, hearing impairment, completely and fully disabled for the rest of their lives. And that doesn't include the mental, psychological, and emotional, spiritual damage that was done to them. So the government finally said, if I see a bruise, if I see a scratch, if I see a knot, if I see anything that indicates that this person has been abused, you're going to jail. And what does the predator do? They turn around. See what you're doing to me? You're going to let them to jail? See? And that's just an extension of their abuse. That control, dominance, guilt. See, people miss that component of abuse. The abuser make the victim feel guilty for what they're doing to them. They make the victim believe that they are the reason why they are being abused, because they did something wrong. Something is wrong with them. They are the problem. That's the very cornerstone of abuse. And people always wonder, why did they stay? Why didn't they call somebody? Why didn't they? They're being abused. That's like asking someone living in a war-torn country, why y'all just didn't leave? I mean, the border right there. Why didn't y'all just run across the border? Why would y'all sit there with bombs and everything going on? Like, you didn't want to cross the border. Why y'all ain't try to figure out a way to get out of there? I know one too many women who are victims and survivors of abuse. And I'll tell you about this one, and maybe it'll help someone. At one point in my life, I worked within an human resources department for a company. And at that time, I was working with the director of human resources for that particular company. So everything coming in and out and everything going on, I knew about it. There was an employee, and we just knew something wasn't right, but we wasn't sure what. And it was at that time we both agreed, she and I, that we would start paying attention, because something isn't right. You could tell by how her workflow was going. Something isn't right. Something is going on. Lingering around the office, don't want to go home, all of that. And sometimes her mate would show up and say they're coming to take them to lunch or whatever. And we would notice whenever she came back, whole everything shifts. She's in a cloud. And it was at that time we started silently preparing at any time to get her out and make her aware of the resources and support that was available via that corporation if she wanted to get out. And the day came when we saw her arm completely black and blue from being beat up. The problem was we wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't by one small mistake or incident. We came in early that morning, the director and I, to take care of something else. We were working on a project. She came into the office and didn't realize we were already there. She didn't have her sweater on. When she saw both of us come out of the office, she, as quickly as possible, tried to get that sweater on so nobody could see her arms and up around her chest area. So this fool knew where to hit her at so nobody could see it. And it's at that time we had a real conversation with her to let us know when you're ready to get out. Because we had already lined everything up. All you got to do is say when, and it's done. Including legal counsel, housing, food, stabilization, and everything else was already ready, set to go. And when she came in that office that Thursday and just said, I'm ready, we immediately went into action. We got her out of that building and took her somewhere else. My God, I got chills thinking about it. We got her out of there. He brought his behind into the office, and we told him to sit in the lobby, have a seat. And honey, we hadn't called the police department. Get him out of our building. He is not come back here anymore. And his wife is not here, and we do not know what he's talking about. However, we did tell them in the office, this is what we do need you to understand why he's not allowed to be here. This is what happened. Here are some pictures. And yeah, that was handled. And she's doing good now. She's not where she need to be as far as just the healing process. She still has a long way to go. But the point I'm making is people are always paying attention. We may not see the bruises, but we can see the emotional scars. And there are more resources than people realize that even their employers may have that could assist them with getting out. All of that fool la la he was trying to pull with financial abuse, take the money out, try to get her to come back. That didn't work because we already had that in place too. That's illegal. You can't do that. So instead of her coming back, there were legal documents sent to him. You need to have your behind at the courthouse on this day, and this day. And you're being charged with this, and this because you decided to take all the money out of it. That's how that's going to go. I say all that for a reason that that particular employee didn't know someone were aware, someone cared, and people did what we had to do to help her. I am tremendously thankful and proud for the opportunity to work for that specific nonprofit organization because of the following. Even though none of the resources we provided and created had anything to do with any forms of abuse, I can tell you they pulled money from various places, and a lot of it, tens of thousands, to make sure she's okay. Yeah. If she come in here and say the light bill got to be paid, This is how you fill this paper out and give it to her. If she comes in here and says she needs childcare for the kids, this is the paper you fill out and give it to her. This is how we're going to do this. And I am so thankful for that opportunity because it showed me where there is a will, there is a way. Where there are people who truly care and love people, we'll find any way that we can to do whatever we have to do because we are mandated to do so, not because of profession, but because of our profession as Christians. Pastors will use everything in the world to make them a sermon, child. If they got to use a song, if they have to use slang, if they have to dress like them, they'll do anything, any component of the world to try to push a sermon home. They'll do that, but they won't talk about things that happen with entertainers and artists that may very well be the reality of some of the people in the pew or some of the people on the platform or in the pulpit with you, or we're singing everyone into worship. They don't use these opportunities to create sermons around them. They just get quiet. You realize how many churches don't offer not one single solitary program for abused citizens, children or adults. They don't offer anything. They all want to do the same thing. Pastor so and so give out food. Oh, we gonna give out food too. Pastor so and so doing this. We gonna do it too. And see, that's what happens when you're operating your flesh. All you do is go steal and copy because you're too lazy and too stupid to come up with something on your own that is truly inspired by the Holy Spirit. So instead, they just steal and copy and try to do it better than the person they stole it from. Yeah, that part. Opposed to them creating programs that one has something to do with the other. Bishop down the street, they do the food program. Bishop over here, they do a tutoring program. They provide scholarships. Bishop so and so over here, they help with car repairs and things like that. Bishop over here, they provide medical resources. Bishop over here provide judicial resources for people who are coming out of the penal system and they need their records expunged. Bishop over here, they provide job training. You see that. You see that. But they don't think that way because they don't want to do things God's way. So I mean, I don't see any of these people being their staff blossoming and blooming and budding with almonds. They were not chosen. Yeah, I said what I said. They weren't chosen by God Himself. They were chosen by family name, whatever, some money, whatever. And they miss all these sheep out here. They miss all these people out here. I'm telling you, when you start creating opportunities for hurting, downtrodden people to have hope and the support they need, that draws them to your church. Not who can swag surface, who can surf, who can twerk, who have the best drums, who have the best light show. I mean, most churches nowadays look like the inside of a nightclub. They want it as dark as possible, the light, the fog machine, and all of that. They want to be in darkness. You see that? So instead of me springing into action this time, I'm getting quiet. Not because I gave up, no, because I want to see exactly what they're going to say and do. I'm just giving it literally 14 days. I'm waiting 14 solid calendar days. And then when I come back to discuss this specific topic, then I'm going to discuss what I noticed, observed, saw, heard during those 14 days about what happened with Diddy and Cassie. See, people love stealing if it's gonna make them some money. They love copying if they think it's gonna make them some money. They love competing if they think it's going to make them some money. But honey, ain't nobody competing about who takes on the hardest issues. They don't want to compete with that. We'll sit up here, gouge each other in the eye, cut each other, stab each other, beat each other, punch each other, kick each other, pull hair, backhand slap, bite. We'll do all of that. We'll do all of that. We'll burn the Capitol down about anything having to do with same gender or anything within the LGBTQIA plus community. We are big on advocating and bringing out awareness about the various things they have to navigate and barriers and challenges that they experience. We've done a tremendous job of advancing that in this country in a very small period of time. And I'll go back to church supposed to love. Well, we do. And we're supposed to love everyone, not one demographic more than the other. You see. So just like we can go 10 toes down, boots on the ground for things that impact the LGBTQIA plus community, why didn't we handle spousal and intimate partner abuse the same way, the same ferocity, the same passion? You see, why we sweep that under the rug? I wonder. Yeah, that part. And no, that's not to beat up on them. I'm showing you how off kilter we are as a country and a body of believers. That's what I'm talking about. And usually I be ready to hard down fight. I am always good for a fight. I had a girlfriend, Jocelyn. Well, we're still friends. And early on in our friendship, Jocelyn, we were at a meeting that night, with the organization we belonged to at that time. And so we were talking, all of us, and Jocelyn said, "See, the thing about her, see, if she with you, she fight for real. She don't care what they did to you and why they did it. She do not care. She's going to fight for you if she have to die doing it. She's not gonna stop. If she care about you, she love you. If she sees something wrong, that's the thing. She is vicious when it comes to being just and right for people." And I was taken aback by that comment because we had the exercise of pointing out characteristics of each one of the sisters, things we noticed about each other. And when Jocelyn said that, I hadn't noticed it, even about myself, because that's just my normal. And she was like, "No, it's different for you. Most people are not that just, that you will die for justice. You would die for the right thing to be done. You will fight for people. And in that fight, you get pretty sick with it because you don't stop in order to get it done, which is true. And in this instance, my brain immediately switched to that. Be a protector and stand for people when they can't do it for themselves. And be loyal to a fault to people that you care about and who are in your life. You just That's just my reality. And this time, or for causes that impact people and they're being mistreated, I take that very seriously. Even though it may not be me directly or any aspect of my life, it doesn't have to be. Just do the right thing. Stand for something. And that's just how I am. And this time, instead of me jumping, springing into action, I'm not doing anything. But for 14 days, documenting, cataloging, listening, archiving everything I hear and see about this Cassie and Diddy situation. Cataloging what approach are they taking? How long did they talk about it? How long did it stay up front and center? How did everyone respond to it? Young, old, black, white, Asian, in between, young, old, all of them. I want to see. I need to see the whole thing. That way I know what thing needs to be done. This time I'm taking a different approach. I need to see how this animal completely, all of it, it's moving and functioning from the victim, the abuser, and from the public. I need to truly, truly study this and pay attention in order for me to understand what we truly need. Hold on. Oh, he'll be okay. Sorry about that. Let me get off of here. I got a call coming. I'll be reading your comments and I will be back with a less serious topic and doing the comments and all of that. Please, within the A Shining Thread of Hope, please be sure to read page 72. Read page 72, and I'll be back to speak with you about it. See y'all soon. Bye. See what this boy.